All right, we are live, everybody.
So welcome to the 15th annual Russell Ferber fundraiser.
Yeah.
Hoorah. Hopefully it's our first and only virtual fundraiser.
Well, it's interesting. First, let's talk about how this started. This all started because Jordan wanted to honor his brother, which is how we came to the fun in the fundraiser, because it was more about Jordan honoring his brother and having comedy, because Jordan was a stand-up and still is a stand-up comedian. And so it was a shock to us, in fact, that we actually raised so many funds, which has been unbelievably helpful over the years since CIA fees have gone up substantially, and if we had to pay them all by ourselves, we would not necessarily be able to do it as often as we'd like. So, but we're welcome. We're happy to have you all here, and it's going to be a little different this year, as you know, because we're going to do it over several weeks, and we're going to then culminate in an online auction, which is nice because more people can participate, and Jordan is going to put on a fabulous comedy show as ever.
Indeed.
Russell was really Jordan's most ardent fan and follower. So it was in part that tied into Jordan's professed career of doing stand-up comedy that led us to sort of joining all of that once we started to think yet more and more about it. And as Dorothy said, Jordan and his cohorts make a lot of people laugh year after year. And hopefully at the end of this virtual event, again, and maybe
I'll say this, I think that the fundraiser that we've done every year has sort of brought all three of our talents to the forefront in this endeavor. Obviously as a comedian, it was important to me to be able to do a show, to produce a comedy show to help us raise money. But your talents as a lawyer, doing all the paperwork to help us figure out what, how you actually get the ball rolling on raising money and what to do with it. And Mom, I think has always been the best at communication, keeping everybody in touch, doing all of the legwork of getting all of the people and items together. I think
we've been blessed in so many ways. I mean, when we first started, I think the first year we had 20 items in our raffle, which was all started because I bumped into an old VCS friend on the street who had gotten our email that we were going to do this fundraiser. And she said, "Are you going to do a raffle?" Which we hadn't even thought about. And I said, "Oh, I don't know." She said, "Well, I'm going to give you your first gift for a raffle." That was Fern Penn, who had a store on Thompson Street, which is no longer open, but she was the one who started it all. And for years, people have been coming out of the woodwork to give us gifts. It's pretty remarkable. Obviously, we can't have the same kind of gifts that we've had in the past because a lot of our gifts were centered around restaurants. And this year, we don't even know which restaurants are open and which aren't open, but we would like all of you to support the restaurants that are open in any way that you can. We go out to our local restaurants here that have supported us over the years, and we hope you will do the same. In our next email, we'll tell you who's open and who's not open. And we have some amazing gifts that are happening this year as well. So we have a huge coffee basket from Barry Coffee Company that everybody's going to love.
Yeah.
And we have a necklace from Lenny that's pretty amazing, of woven gold. It's really pretty fabulous. Were you going to say something, Jordan?
I'm always amazed at the number of things that we get for our raffle and silent auction. It is truly, it's overwhelming to not just to do the work of putting together all the lists and making sure that it is properly represented when we put it out into our list so people can bid on things, but it is heartwarming and overwhelming in that sense. The number of things that people donate that includes their time, and it's really, there's really nothing quite like the amount of the outpouring of support that we get.
Right.
From people.
And this year, one of the things that we did do is we asked some of our scholars if they would be willing to do some sort of a class to teach some of what they've learned and what they've been doing now in their professional lives, to share it with you and to have you guys bid upon it. And the nice thing is that you can have more than one person bid on it. And I know, for example, that Russell's baking partner from the CIA, his friend Carolyn, who lives in Dallas, is going to do a class on how to ice a cake, which is something that I've never been able to do. I can bake a great cake, but it never looks pretty. I never can do the icing. So in fact, I spoke to her yesterday, and she told me that she has this new method that's very easy, and she does it with a buttercream. I said, "Oh, you get a cream, I hope, because my attempts at buttercream have always failed." So she's going to do that too. So there's a lot of exciting things to look forward to. We're really happy that you're with us now, and we hope you'll join us next week again. But I think right now that's enough.
Well, I just want to say, we've been very lucky over the last 14 years also in the way that we've put this event together. I've always said, I don't think I can possibly jinx it at this point. And right now we are in our own homes. So we're not going to get rained on tonight, but we've always done this event in the middle of the summer, and it has always kind of threatened to rain on us at this event, but it has never rained in the lead up or the aftermath. It's rained a handful of times during the event.
During, right, exactly.
Which I have to think is Russell's doing.
And
nobody's ever gotten caught in the rain. It's only people that have left early or arrived late.
Right.
And only one attack by the New York City Fire Department.
That's right.
Yes, if you were not at our event last year, we had an impromptu edition that a lot of people found to be quite amusing. We had the fire department showed up, so we turned it into a.
Well, they showed up because of us. They showed up because one of Jordan's friends brought her little boy, which we always have encouraged for children to participate. And he's a very curious, wonderful little boy, Robin, and he decided while looking around he would just sort of touch things as children like to do.
In his mother's arms.
In his grandmother's arms.
At the right height.
And one of the things that he touched was the fire alarm. So
pulled the plug.
Yeah.
Fire department came, emptied the building.
You have no
250 people.
On the street.
Yeah,
So
we know how to.
They brought their drinks, they brought their food. There was nothing lost. It was a beautiful evening. And the comedy show began almost on time.
Yes.
Well, and it's 18 years since we lost Russell, and I think that he smiles up in heaven every time we do this. Every time we start to work on it, and it can get very frustrating and overwhelming. It's about him. I mean, that's really what it's about: is to keep his spirit alive. And
he needs another party, so please do it tonight with us.
Right, and he loved parties, and so he's very happy about this. And so we're happy that you're listening to us, and we're boring, so we're going to go on to something more interesting.
Next week, we're going to have a whole bunch of folks. Jordan, tell us.
Well, we are going to be doing these interviews, and speaking of food, glorious food, we are going to bring our sponsor in.
Hey,
Ms. Monica von den Calderon. Hello.
Hi. Is
Welcome.
This very dark, or is it still light enough to talk?
It's light enough, I think.
Awesome. Wow.
Well,
I'm a little nervous, but this is very exciting.
So if you guys have not been to our event before in the past, we have had the pleasure of the Grandaisy Bakery to have catered it for the last 13 years, which is amazing. It's, I think, some of the best pizza and bread in the city. And Monica has been running the Grandaisy for a while, and she's basically came to our second event and decided that we needed to have more substantial food.
Now, the very first event, and at the bottom of the program, I said if anybody would like to sponsor us or participate, please call. And first thing the next morning, first person who called was Monica saying, "How can I help? What I want to do? What can I do?"
Absolutely, I remember that.
Me too.
The first year it was all just alcohol and sugar. So
yeah,
it was
really good brownies, but yes, no, it was exciting to participate, and it's been amazing to watch.
We had a very beautiful fruit and cheese platter that year, the first year too. I do remember that.
all right. It kind of ruins the joke I was going to make, so I'll leave it at that then.
The setup, well, it's been really exciting to be a part of this for so many years. So I'm really, I'm honored, and I'm kind of excited to be here now to get to talk about it.
Yeah, well, the Grandaisy Bakery, as I always say, it feels like every piece of cake bread I've ever had from there has been baked with love as well. You guys are a family there as well. And we've known you for so long. I think it's crazy that, both Russell and I worked at the original Sullivan Street location when it was Sullivan Street Bakery.
Yes, we were talking about that today.
Yes.
We have a funny Russell story that I wasn't sure I should share.
I don't know. I think it's classic Russell.
Well, it is classic Russell. So Russell, in Spanish, the term is pícaro. It's an endearing it's a term of endearment for someone who's really like Russell. So so he came, at some point he came to work with us because this is, now that I'm older, everybody's kid eventually needs a job, and they all say, can you work in the bakery for a little bit? And so he came by, and it was good. He was fun. He was like, we found out eventually that he was telling everybody who walked up to him when he was outside on a little break that his father owned this bakery and that he was just to help him out. And I remember that drove somebody crazy, but I thought it was the funniest thing, and I still laugh about it every time, and I think about it. And it's just
In his dreams, right?
What's that?
I said in his dreams that his father.
Well, please.
No,
I mean,
only for the purpose of having them help do something.
Well,
it was good.
He'd always dreamt of rolling in the dough,
And then I think it was part of his, I don't know, but maybe part of his sort of awakening into the world of baking and food and all the fun stuff and how fun it would be to own a place like that eventually. And then he went into the field. So I don't doubt that there was a connection there.
He wasn't so responsible at that age, as I recall.
Yeah,
Who is?
Jim fired him. He was late.
No, he was.
I know. Well,
He was
unacceptable.
He was actually worse than late, and Jim fired. I know you stood up for him. I thought firing him was absolutely the right thing to do because he needed some consequences. Because Russell was the kind of kid who could really charm the pants off of most people, and
to make you feel okay, I also fired my cousin, who he knew, and they all loved each other. So
well, that has nothing to do with it.
Right.
You need to be responsible.
Absolutely
You need
right.
somebody, when you hire somebody to work for you, you need them to show up.
Yep.
It's true.
I
But we
called
also,
Jim, and he said, look, he didn't do, he's got to live up to the standard. He said, what? You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
And
but
let this be one of the lessons that he hopefully learns quickly from. Took him a while. Learned them all though.
Yeah, but we were talking with Steve today about when we were in Colorado when he was working in that small, I think it's Broomfield, right between Boulder and Denver. Yeah. And we had we gorged on every dessert creation he had designed, and we're laughing about how we didn't think we'd ever be able to eat anything sweet again. It was very good.
Boom. When it was in the Broomfield Mall, right? And it was
it was Broomfield. Wow.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. So I have super fabulous, really memories that make my heart break a little bit when I think about him because they were so good and fun and funny, and it's just we're all learning all the time. So I want him to be here to keep learning with us. So
for sure.
Sorry.
Yeah. Join a big group.
And we certainly miss seeing you in person as we do this time of year, having you at the fundraiser every year as well.
And Andrea, we've watched your son grow up, right?
Yes, he's grown up and now he wants to be an actor, and and this is one of his favorite, for the whole family, it's like our favorite event because it's a meaningful cause, and you can see where it's very tangible where everything goes. It's not like you guys are out buying fur coats to pay out, or something. It's like going to these scholarships and to these, and to the school and to everything else. So that's amazing. But then we get to laugh, and it makes it turns something that's so, that can be so sad into something that you bring a whole family. The room becomes a giant family and community of people, and everybody is laughing and drinking, and then we get little prizes if we win in the raffle, and it has been a special thing since the beginning, and I hope we can turn it into something again this year, despite everything, because if we can capture some of that would be great.
We're gonna try.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what you hit the nail on the head. David and I and Jordan always feel that there's so much love in that room that.
That's hard to capture.
Yes, I think it keeps us hot.
Special.
It gets us through the summer because, Russell was killed on July 6th, and it's always really, really difficult for us. And I always say I don't do summers, but
There used to be a palpable sense. You could almost feel it, like very, very heavy humidity. You could feel it if that's the case in a room. You could feel the love. Even before the comedy show began, there was just this feeling, all these people together somehow, with, of course, the dozen pictures or so that were always
and then
around
there's
the
the
walls
food
of
from
Russell.
Grandaisy, which is pretty amazing.
And
Absolutely
and
amazing.
all the sandwiches from Grandaisy.
Sandwiches and the pizzas.
Well,
First, people went home with breads. You actually literally gave
right.
gave out like
Well,
50 breads.
That's very exciting. Well, I have to say, one of the thing, the double side, the flip side of doing any event is being able to make food and give it and participate in something like that gives meaning to everyone who's working on it. So even at the bakery, it's something we learn now as well. Again, when we were making sandwiches for frontline workers in the hospitals, it was like everyone's so kind of sad, but to be able to do something really meaningful for everyone else suddenly made it okay. You know, there we are, we're working. And we're also being able to help and stuff. And so this, like, I remember Ramel and Mimi, they love coming to the event, and it's meaningful for them. They're like, oh, Monica isn't just going around giving stuff away. It's actually, this is a great thing. And I'm so glad I'm here. So it was very good on all levels.
Ramel has come even when he wasn't working at Grandaisy Bakery.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Well, speaking of which, what are you guys doing now besides making sandwiches for people on the front lines? What are you guys doing during this quarantine? How can people help support you guys?
Thank you. Well, we're not making as many sandwiches now. That was at the beginning when things were really terrible in New York, and frankly and thankfully they're much better. So now, we're just struggling I think along with all the other restaurants and food venues that make food for restaurants. I mean, we basically, most of our business was making bread for all the restaurants in New York City. And so they're closed or at operating very low capacity. And we have our stores open. So we're making our pizzas and things for that. And so we're just trying to make it through this time. It's a little scary, and we're just working hard trying to do that. I mean, I want everyone to be okay and healthy, and at the bakery, we're taking care of each other. That's always the goal, is make sure we're taking care of each other as well as everyone else, and just moving forward. That's all kind of that we can do. I mean, when anybody wants to support anything, you go to the restaurants, you come to see us and buy a loaf of bread, or you can order online to pick up. So those are the things that people are doing. But all around, I think New York City in general always comes together and takes care of each other. So I'm hopeful.
Yeah.
Good. Well, I think we're losing your light.
I know. I thought it was so light before. Let me go inside. I thought this was better because
now
it's
that's
quiet.
Already,
No.
we actually can
There, I'm back.
All right.
Now
There
I'm
we
not-
go.
Jordan,
Sorry about that.
Jordan, can you tell if we have any audience other than the three videos screens that we can see?
No,
Yeah, there's a couple people watching on Facebook, and there are hard to tell who's watching on YouTube.
And then, yeah,
I
it's
don't-
it's a
I'm
new
ba-
dimension.
I'm barely active on Twitter, so there's nobody watching on Twitter, but there will be.
Cool.
I think
Well, this is
that they're
exciting.
too busy watching the convention or the responses from the president to the convention, which is
Yeah.
ongoing.
We,
I think we've covered pretty much everything. No?
Awesome.
we're living in an age where you never have to watch anything live anyway. So hopefully
Right.
plenty of people are going to be watching this after the fact. But we
Well-
will say that there will be, we'll be going live every Wednesday at 8:00.
And next week you're gonna interview a bunch of our scholars, which will be very interesting.
I
Some
can't
of
wait.
Some of whom are looking for jobs. So it'll be very interesting to see what everybody's doing during this difficult time.
Yeah. Well, I'll
It's
tell you,
true.
I wonder what Russell would be doing in this quarantine, how he would be trying to turn it into an advantage of his, I think, turn it in his favor.
He would have a loaf of Grandaisy bread in front of one of the candidates, sort of surreptitiously at the beginning of a speech.
Yeah.
Something like that, label showing, the way Monica's
Thank
wearing
you.
a t-shirt.
I guess I have to, yeah, I'm going to take that cue and work a little and push a little harder. Inspired by Russell's, what is that?
Chutzpah.
Oh, that's the word. Yeah, exactly. I knew it was a word.
Or
Anyway,
say charisma. It's not, doesn't have to be chutzpah.
charisma and chutzpah together. That's like the magic. That's
right.
That's what makes it successful.
Yeah.
There's
That's
a
it.
slather of charisma.
Yeah, absolutely.
Smooths the
Well,
way.
Well, this is exciting. So we're putting together a gift basket to put on the auction. So as part of the process of setting things up, I'm excited about that. Like some loaves of bread and some cookies and some of our really good jam and maybe a T-shirt and stuff. So we'll have that ready.
My favorite are your chocolate cookies. I've
Oh,
been
yeah.
Okay,
trying.
I'll make sure there's some of those in there.
They're amazing, those cookies. Jordan never passes the bakery without buying them for me because I'm a cookie monster.
Well, they're also those are the best cookies.
Yeah, well, they're competitions.
There are a
We'll
lot
put
of
it to both.
bones, old bones thing. There are a lot of them that are very good, but the chocolate
Yeah.
ones, you know,
Cool.
they sing to me. You can see my
Well,
COVID
thank
hate.
you so much, Monica, for coming and chatting with us.
Thank you for everything that you've done over the years. We don't
Oh.
know what to do
Yeah,
without
thank you,
you.
Monica.
It's my pleasure. Thank you. I'm good. This is an exciting new step we're taking here. So I'm looking forward to it working and being a super success.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
And,
we're gonna build on
we're looking
the
forward
links.
to the culmination of all of these online interviews are going to end with our comedy fundraiser, our comedy showcase, which is going to be live from the Zinc Bar. We're going to be streaming it live from Zinc Bar. We'll have a handful of VIP seating out front, but it'll mostly be on your computer as well. But the Zinc Bar is the place that I've been producing live comedy showcases for a little over 10 years now. And wouldn't you know it, the owners of the Zinc Bar are also big fans of the Grandaisy Bakery. The fact that you guys have a relationship that is independent of our relationship, that you guys were already friends, is kind of amazing. And they serve Grandaisy pizza at the Zinc Bar.
Yes. And the cake.
and the pound cake, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even our doing that that Grandaisy also caters the venue that we're going to be holding the show at this year.
Yay.
Kind of amazing.
Just shows what good taste they have.
Indeed.
Thank you. That's great. I'll let Alex know.
Okay.
All right. Thanks,
Bye,
Monica.
everybody. See you next week.
Good night,
Yes.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
See you next Wednesday. Stay well and
Yeah.
safe.
You too.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you guys. Thank you guys so much for listening, for watching, for tuning in. And please go to the Russell Ferber Foundation website. russellferberfoundation.org is where you can find all of the information as we continue to put it up. We're going to be continuing to update the website about what we're planning. I promise that I will be better at promotion next week as well. So thanks. Ta-ta. Thanks, Russ.